Hey, it's Archangel Michael here. I just gave a secret to a few people that could unlock your best life starting today. This isn't just about feeling better. It's about seeing real tangible shifts. Don't skip this. Your next chapter depends on it. You haven't been stressed. You're early at the edge of a new time. Something inside you has been waiting for a door that hasn't opened yet. And you called it worry because no one taught you any other word for it. Let me start by telling you a very important fact. You didn't find this by accident while looking at 100 other things tonight. At this very line, something in you slowed down in a way that hasn't happened in weeks. It's not a coincidence. That means you know this message got to you tonight and not last year or next year for a reason. That reason will be clear to you by the end of my speech, along with the reason why your best chapter couldn't have begun any earlier than today. These days, you've been telling yourself that you're behind schedule, which means everyone else is moving, but you're not. That you didn't notice the good thing you've been praying for when it happened. Before we go any further, I want you to understand this well. That's not true at all. You won't have to take my word for it. After reading this message, you'll understand why it was never true. There is already a change in your favor. It didn't move in the part of your life you've been watching. So, you haven't seen it yet. It moved to a place that was quieter and deeper. Right there is where we're going to start. Follow me through this. Even the parts that seem slow because the turning point isn't close to the start. It's almost over. I'm also not going to rush toward it just to make you feel better. You have been putting some things down for a long time and they need to be woken up properly and in the right order. Don't rush it. While you're here, 3 separate events will take place. The first thing you will learn is something about your mind that almost no one ever tells you correctly. What's really going on behind the worry, the waiting, and the feeling that good things are always coming late. It's not just going to make you feel better. In simple terms, you will understand how it works, which is how it should have been explained to you a long time ago. Second, before this message is even over, you will feel something move in your chest. When something that has been tight for a long time starts to feel a little less tight. That's not a figure of speech. There is a real thing there. And I'm going to show you why it takes place. Third, you will leave with something you can use right away, without having to wait for something else to change. Everything I have covered across this channel is now in one place. The prayers, the teachings, the daily blessings, it is all inside the Daily Miracle Manual link in the description. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission grows into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. But more than your support, we want your presence. When you head to our community through the link in the description or the pinned comment, you aren't just visiting a site. You are entering a community of like-minded believers. This is a sanctuary where you can post your prayer requests, lift up the burdens of others, and engage in daily discussions with a family that speaks the language of faith. Whether you are joining one of our membership tiers for deeper study, sowing a seed of faith, or simply joining our daily morning prayers, you are helping us build a global altar of worship. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through a community that stands together. Each gift you give acts as living water for those in our community seeking healing and hope. Give and it will be given to you, is the promise that sustains our shared mission. I invite you now to step out of the shadows and into this circle of prayer. Come with purpose. Join the conversation and plant your seed in fertile ground. Let's open the heavens together. Release your seed today. Join our community and see what God brings back into your life. There is a certain way to work with your own attention that only takes a minute and that you can use again and again. I'm not going to ask you to believe any of that just yet. In a few minutes, I'll just show you a small proof of it. That way, when the bigger truth comes out, you'll already believe the voice telling you it. This is where we begin. Not with ideas, but with what is real in your body at this very moment. Something you felt 1,000 times but never knew what to call it. You know how it feels. You sit down to rest, pray, or just be still. In a matter of seconds, your mind is already 3 steps ahead. Practicing a conversation that hasn't happened yet and going over a conversation that has already happened. You might think too much about that. That's what most people call it. Neither word is correct. You're wrong about how important the difference is. That little moment when your mind wanders off without you letting it is not a flaw in who you are. It's the first piece of a much bigger puzzle. And I'm about to show you where that puzzle leads. Here is a clear name for the symptom. You're tired when you wake up because the day hasn't even begun yet. You've already thought about what could go wrong before you even step foot on the ground. Bills. One wrong word could break up this relationship. A call that you can feel but can't quite answer. There is also a quiet constant hum that never really goes away. Not even when things are great. That's what you call hum stress. It could be called anxiety by your doctor. But there's a reason why it never really goes away. Not even during the good weeks or when prayers are answered. That reason has nothing to do with your faith or your discipline. There is a mechanism under there that makes that sound. Something that almost no one gets right. And it's not the whole picture yet. It's just the edge. I'm not going to give you everything right now. Here's what I'm going to say. The hum isn't caused by events in your life. It's coming from a frequency inside you that someone never asked your permission to turn off years ago. You should feel better about yourself even before you fully understand how it works if you know that much. Right now, try this for one breath. Take note of the hum without trying to stop it or calling it anxiety. Just pay attention to it like you would the weather. It's not the end of your life because it's a signal. We can figure out where it came from. We'll work together to fully trace this one a little later in this message. If you think something I said is true, please let me know with one word below this message. So I know you're still here and can keep going with the depth this needs. Write a complete guide. Every daily prayer, every spiritual tool, everything I've put together to help you grow your faith is down in the description. It's called the Daily Miracle Manual. Now stay right here with me because as this awakening grows inside you know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself. Jesus says this is not history. It is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. You've always known that this wasn't the whole story. That's why you're still here listening. Even though you could have closed this and gone back to scrolling, you've been waiting for someone to finally say it straight out instead of avoiding it to make you feel better. So, let me make it clear. It's not a lack of faith that has kept you from the chapter you already won. It's not that they didn't try. Not because of anything you did or didn't do either. Two frequencies inside you that were turned off years ago in a certain order are what's been stopping you. This is the part that almost no one tells you that can't be put back in the wrong order. You have to put them back in the order they were taken, or the second one won't work. When things are fixed in the right way and the right order, things that have felt behind schedule for years start to happen when they were supposed to happen, not someday. That one sentence is the main idea behind everything I'm going to say next. Keep it close but not too tight. Like a key you haven't used yet. Almost everything else builds on top of the first frequency, which is why we should start with it. You read the same sentence 3 times tonight, but nothing stuck with you. But you can still remember a song you loved when you were 9 years old. Every word after decades, and you never tried to remember them. You should care more about that gap than you do. That is what you call a gap age. What did you call it? Stress, a busy time of year, or just having too much to do as an adult. Some of you have said something worse in a place where you don't say it out loud. That whatever it was about you as a child that made you smart, curious, and not afraid to ask 100 questions in a row. You were not made to keep it up as an adult. None of those things are true about what happened to you. Do you remember the last time you were genuinely interested in something small without being impressed or entertained? Interesting. This is how a child leans toward an open drawer. To see what's inside for no reason other than finding the unknown interesting instead of scary. If that hasn't happened to you in a long time, it's not a sign of who you are. It's information, and we're about to follow it to its end. There is a frequency inside every child that is open, interested, and learning without trying. This frequency takes in wonder without needing proof first. It's what brain scientists call a fast bright wave. The kind that lets a child ask 100 questions in a row without getting tired. When a child is 7, something starts to happen. That frequency starts to drop around the world, not all at once. Slowly through school, getting in trouble and being told to be quiet and not ask questions. When a person is an adult, that frequency is only a whisper of what it used to be. This shape has shown up on more than one person. So, I finally gave it a name. This is what I call the decline effect. I know that phrase because that's how it looks on the inside, not because I got it from a book. A bright thing slowly going out while everyone tells you that you're just growing up. One neuroscientist who has been studying this topic for 34 years has seen the same pattern in lab after lab and has written about it in research shared by MIT, Princeton, Harvard, and other top research universities. I'm not going to act like I know everything about that research that he does. I only know what it does because I've seen it happen to real people many times. That means you never lost your gift during those years. They were you with a gift that had been dimmed quietly without your knowledge. You never caused trouble. It was the dim switch. Tonight you can do something for free that will start to change this in a small way. Give me a simple memory from before you were 8 years old. Not a big deal. A way in. A kitchen smell. The weight of the afternoon light in a room where you used to sit. Pay attention to what happens in your chest as you hold it for one slow breath. There is no nostalgia in that flicker you just felt. That's the frequency that's still there, still yours, waiting below everything you put on top of it. I want to be honest with you because this is more important than being excited about it. I can't give you an exact date for when this will fully come back for you. If someone tells you they know exactly when they will meet your man, they are not telling you the truth. I am sure of what I am telling you about the pattern because I have seen it work in too many people for it to be a coincidence. That spark in your chest just now was the start of something that wants to come back to life in you. There is more below it, a second frequency that is linked to the first. It changes how the rest of your life receives what has already been decided in your favor. Let's take a moment to slow down. Do something slow. Breathe in and out slowly. Then let it out longer than you breathed in. Right now you don't need to solve anything. You don't have to figure out the second frequency. Right now make plans for the whole week or decide what any of this means for tomorrow. Just let what we've already talked about sink in for about a minute. If you stop stirring water, it will settle down. There's more to come. And it will be here when you're ready. There's no need to hurry about this moment or about fixing yourself. Don't forget to mark this moment. If any of this hits home for you, remember where you were sitting when the first piece of the puzzle fell into place. When we come back to it by marking the words, I receive this. Now during my speech some of you felt more than one flicker because if you did the next part will be very important to you. Two tools were made from the same research by two different people who never met and worked on two different parts of the same problem. One brings back the frequency we've been talking about. The one in charge of wonder, curiosity, and the mind of a child. The other one opens something different. A channel that decides whether the things that come into your life are received or quietly pushed away. They only work when put together in the right order. I'll show you why right before this message ends. The first is called the Genius Song and it's a short audio file designed to help people relax. It was made by the same researcher whose work we just talked about. The second one is called the Wealth Signal and it comes with a short spoken piece that is meant to get people ready on for what we are about to talk about right now. I don't want you to think about either one. I only want you to know about them because we will need both names more than once. There are people who won't be interested in this tonight. And that's okay. If the last few minutes didn't feel like anything you knew, this next stretch might just prove what you already thought. It might have felt familiar, though. If it did, stay close. What follows in the description and the pinned comment below this message will make a lot more sense once you know why the order is important. Think about a morning a few months from now. You open your eyes before the alarm goes off and before you even think about being worried. There is already a change in your chest. After a moment of lying there, the knot you know is under your ribs is gone. You don't feel afraid of the day at first. The last time you asked a question like this was when you were 8 years old. You're interested in everyday things like the shape of the light on the ceiling and the sound outside the window. Just like you used to be interested in everything for no reason. There is a break between that morning and now. And it can feel wide when you are standing inside a hard season. But the gap is not made of time. It is made of a frequency that was turned down in you and has simply never been turned back up. If you want to understand exactly how that frequency gets turned back up, keep listening because we are about to walk through the second half of this. The part almost nobody explains correctly. Also, look at what isn't there in that picture. You don't have to rush to check your phone as soon as you wake up. Do not think about all the bad things that could happen before your feet even touch the ground. Just a body that trusts the day. Ahead like it did every day. A long time before anyone taught it how to brace instead. Some of you have raised an eyebrow as you listen to this. And I value that more than just agreeing with you. You didn't give in to a 100 lies because you had a healthy amount of doubt. I'm not going to ask you to just believe me. Let me ask you a shorter, more fair question. Instead, not whether this sounds like it's true, but whether there is a pattern underneath it. The first tradition behind what we've talked about comes from decades of research into brain waves that show that fast curious frequency that kids have. Universities like MIT, Princeton, Harvard and others have studied and shared this information. Along with it there is a different tradition that was created by a different researcher in academia who didn't follow the usual path in order to publish work that mainstream funding wasn't interested in supporting. His research came from Stanford, Boston University and other research universities. It looks at the same main problem from a totally different point of view. Two separate lines of research that based on what each researcher said led to the same conclusion from two different angles. I'm not going to lie and say that a lab made an exact copy of this combination and gave it their stamp of approval. That would not be honest and I would rather lose your trust in this sentence than keep it with a lie. You will see that the pattern has happened again and again in the thousands of people who tried it in the order I am about to show you. This is how each of these researchers has written about it. There's a reason why doubt and acceptance can live in the same chest at the same time. That's a good place to be right now. Right there is where this next part is meant to meet you. Because most people get the word chapter completely wrong. You've been looking forward to the start of your best chapter like it was a marked date on a calendar. A moment that comes at its own time no matter what you do. But the page doesn't turn because too much time has passed. A chapter turns because the person living it first changed a frequency and then everything else changed to fit that change. Pattern is not the same as proof. And it is the more fair question to ask about something this private. A pattern is real even if it's not in a lab. It only needs to happen close enough to enough lives that coincidence is no longer a good way to explain it. At that level, I want you to hold this tonight. Not a leap of faith or blind faith. This part of the title is what I want to talk about because I don't. You got it wrong. That part that said you already won wasn't making things up to get your attention. It was talking about something that is already set up somewhere you can't see yet. In this case, the letter is already written and sealed before it gets to you. No one is still making up their minds about what will happen. The outcome has been decided. The delivery is still going. Delivery is based on how often it happens, not on time. Since this is the case, telling yourself to stop worrying has never really worked. You are not making a mistake when you worry. The sound of worry is like a radio still tuned to an old season while your life is quietly trying to move you into a new one. That gap is too big for you to think your way out of. You can only close it by changing the frequency. Just like when you retune an instrument. You can't make it work harder. Please pay attention to this. Nothing I've said so far. The flicker in your chest, the memory of who you were before you were 8 years old, and the difference between this morning and the one you saw a few minutes ago cost me a dime or anything else. All of that was free and real. The next part goes into the second frequency even more. The one who decides if the good things that have already been sealed for you show up or just slip by like they always do, because almost no one says this out loud. Getting a child's mind back on track is only half of what can change their life. A second door is there. But it's closed for a very good reason. One that has nothing to do with how hard you tried. Let me explain this further. Most people would soften what they're about to say in the middle of this message. I'm not going to do that. What's next is the most important thing I need to say to you tonight, and I think you're ready for it. Most people don't see this coming. And once you do, you can't take it back. It's been years since you stopped being careful around worry. Something to fight, shut up, pray away, or get through with your teeth clenched. However, your worry was never the issue. All along, your worry has been a sign, faithfully pointing you toward a closed door you hadn't found yet. When you tried to shut down the messenger instead of going to the door, the message got louder every time. Everything about how we move forward after that shift has changed. Don't worry about beating it tonight. We're going to a door. That door lives in the same place as the second frequency. I just talked about that one that has to do with receiving rather than remembering. And I want to tell you the truth. The next part of this message is the most important part. Some of you have prayed honestly for years and seen the answer come for someone right next to you first. This is the piece that explains it. Heaven didn't forget your name. It's because you didn't have a channel open to receive what had already been sent. Tell me right now with one word below this message if you're ready to see that channel named for real for the first time and not just talk about it. This next part will help you get to the point where you can write it again. Before I show you that channel, I want to talk to you about something that some of you are quiet about right now. You may have done similar things before. You might have tried sound healing, writing in a journal, praying every day for months, or a coaching program that said it would help you change the way you think. And maybe none of it worked the way you thought it would. To be clear, you did not fail at any of those things. By using them over and over, those tools ask your mind to change slowly from the inside out. What we're talking about tonight has a different effect on the frequency itself. When you look at it from the outside in. Plus, here's the real reason why those first attempts didn't work. Each tool you used was aimed at a single frequency. Two are actually turned off in a certain order in your situation. And the half you didn't aim for was the one that was stuck on the other one. It was never the wrong thing to do. It showed half of the story. Some of you spent real money on those earlier attempts, while others spent something more dangerous on hope over and over again until hope itself started to feel risky. I don't want you to hope without knowing why one more time tonight. I want you to pay attention to one specific missing piece. The second radio wave. The one that none of those earlier tools were ever made to reach. It's here. The second radio wave. What you've prayed for will either land in your hands or slip through your fingers. One more time. You hear yourself say no. Before you even finish making up your mind when someone offers to help you carry something. If you want the full guide with every prayer and lesson I've compiled for this community, check the description, the Daily Miracle Manual. You are about to enter your divine future. But remember, this breakthrough is not for you alone. Your testimony is the bridge someone else will use to reach their own miracle. Archangel Michael is inviting you to visit community through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. By joining our like-minded community, you are no longer praying in isolation. You are adding your voice to a global sanctuary where we discuss the Word daily and stand in the gap for one another. This is not poetry when Jesus says give and heaven will open over you on this platform. Every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and a hedge of safety for your family. Now is your time. Step into our community prayer war. Share your heart, and as you give, watch God multiply what you let go of. Let's finish this journey together. Visit our community now. Join the family and see your heavens open. When someone compliments you, you turn them down. Give it back right away before it has a chance to settle. For as long as you can remember, you've wanted more. Still, you have politely turned down 100 little offers of it without even realizing it. That's what you call freedom. Some of you have said it's because they are humble or just don't want to be a bother to anyone. It's not either of those. I want you to pay attention to this part. It is a reflex, and all of us have reflexes. You are not born with them. And you are not chosen to have them. A separate mechanism from the first one is working under that reflex. It's been going on in the background of your life as an adult, and you probably haven't even noticed it. When you're an adult, your brain settles into a certain state, like when you keep an eye on your money, your relationships, and your safety almost all the time. It makes you quick, alert, and slightly on edge. A slower, more open state can't make room for that state when it runs all the time instead of just when it's needed. The one in which the subconscious mind actually lets in things instead of fighting them. When that slower state gets too crowded, the receiving channel shuts down quietly and doesn't open again until something specifically does. So, like I did with the first pattern, I gave this one a name. I call it the stress signal because that's what it is. A signal that keeps the receiving channel closed long after the threat it was responding to has gone away. A different researcher looked into this part of the picture for many years. Someone who finally turned away from a more traditional academic path in order to publish work he thought was being ignored. Publishing research that has to do with Stanford, Boston University, and other research universities. There is an old teaching that says you have to act like a child again before you can get what was promised to you. This teaching is really old. Kids don't look at a present for 10 minutes to decide if they deserve to keep it. If a child wants something, they just take it without any problems. That's not being weak. The right way to stand to keep a channel open. I remember hearing about a nurse who used this exact method for weeks and didn't feel like anything big had changed. She still had the same worries and woke up with the same tight mornings. She had already written the letter to get her money back, but she never sent it because it didn't take her long to keep going. Around the 6th week, her daughter asked her why. She stopped saying no and started saying yes. Let me take that. She wasn't even aware that she was helping people when they offered it. Someone else saw the channel before she did because it had quietly opened. Right now, tonight, you can do something that will start to loosen up this reflex that won't cost you a dime. Let someone help you, compliment you, give you a seat, or be kind to you next time. Do not make it better. Do not turn it away. Don't try to explain it away. Say one thing. Yes. Then pay attention to how your body tries to undo it. There is resistance, which is what we have been talking about the whole time. For the same reason I told you the truth about everything else. Tonight, I want to tell you the truth about this, too. I'm not telling you that this one word can open a channel that has been closed for years in just one evening. I want you to understand that this is the exact same motion that the full restoration works on in a much deeper way. You will know why the order of these two frequencies is so important once you feel them, even if it's just a little bit. Years ago, two frequencies were turned down in a certain order without your permission. They can only be put back in the same order, not sped up, skipped, or turned around. That's the part almost no one tells you, right? And this is the part that the rest of the night has been building up to. Let's take a short break here before moving on. What's next needs your full attention, not attention that is already worn out. Take deep breaths in and out. And let them out even more slowly. You don't have to remember everything we've talked about so far. More of it is already in your body than in your mind, and it will keep working on you in the background even when this message seems to stop. I'd like to tell you the truth. Something I say not to appear humble, but because it is true. I can't tell you for sure what week this will fully fit into your life. I can't promise you a certain morning when the knot under your ribs will go away for good. If someone gives you an exact date for something this private, they are giving you information they don't actually have. Without a doubt, I can tell you what the order is. The mind of a child wakes up first. Second, the receiving channel starts up. It's something I've seen happen over and over again to more people than I could ever list here. Maybe you thought this wasn't for people like me. If so, I haven't prayed enough. I haven't earned this moment. Listen carefully. I need you to hear this. It was never about getting it. A child doesn't think about whether what has been offered is good enough before taking it. It just reaches. The fact that you don't think you deserve to receive is a sign of the channel we've been talking about. Calling that out in yourself is not a reason to be disqualified. It leads to the door. Now picture something that is different from what you saw before. You are being given something good. You didn't expect to hear that name, that number, or that door again. Also, look at the strangest thing. You can't say no to it with anything in you. You don't close your hands. It's not like that old feeling when your chest gets tight. Feel that way for a little while longer. There is no voice inside telling you to find a reason to say, "Not yet. Not me. Not this time." There is no effort or merit in the distance between the part of you that tries to catch good things but never quite does, and the part of you that just takes them without you, that just takes them without a fight. There is one channel that was closed a long time ago and has never been shown how to open it again. Please allow us to feel a small part of that opening together for 1 minute. Just sit where you are and let your shoulders fall just a little lower than they were before. For these few breaths, you don't need headphones, a device, or anything else. All you need is your own attention. Picture one room in your mind. It should be quiet, warm, and normal. There is a door in that room that has been shut for a long time. And behind it is a version of you that is still waiting without getting angry. Now, slowly move that picture. Do not reach across the room to get to that door. You are being given something. Instead, something that was always addressed to you by name is now just being handed to you. Leave one hand in your lap open, palm facing up, even if it's just a little. Let your next breath out be longer than the one you took in. Take a moment to notice what changes in your chest when you let go of your guard and just receive. Let me know right now with one word below this message if you felt even a little of that. Write "the hand opens." The reason being that just happened to you. So why doesn't anything change on its own now that we understand how it works? It is easy to see the pattern. If you leave your chest alone in the morning tomorrow, it might still do the same thing it did this morning. You never had the answer in your mind. Truth was never the room itself. It was just the doorway. Here is something you now know that you didn't know an hour ago. Two frequencies stopped working in you years ago, and they stopped working in a certain order. The first one turned off your childish mind. The part of you that was made to be open to learning and being amazed. The second one shut down the receiving channel. The part of you that was made to take in what comes in instead of blocking it. The first one is still dim. So the second one can't fully open. This doesn't give you a theory. There is a way to make something whole again with a restoration and a reception going in the right order. Something that deserves its own name. You could call it child mind reversal if you want. One identity that has been true the whole time lies beneath it all. There is no doubt that you are a child of light and a chosen one. They chose you because of what was put in you before you could lose sight of it, not because of anything you did. The clarity you just got is real. I want you to treat it with respect, but being clear has never been enough to open a closed channel on its own. That should be enough for now. Hold on to it gently without making a plan for tonight. No matter how clear the understanding was, it was always meant to lead to something else. That part of you that doesn't live in your mind at all. When you were younger, both of these frequencies lived in you at the same time. They were both fully awake and open before they were touched by anything outside of you. That's not a figure of speech about childhood. You were just that at the beginning, all done. They didn't all stop talking at the same time. One dimmed the first years before the other. And that order is the reason why you've never had a single fix that worked perfectly before. The next part of this message exists because someone remembered what you were always meant to carry. Wouldn't let memory die. I already told you about two names, which are tools that were made by two different researchers working on two different parts of what we've been talking about all morning. I told you we'd talk about them again once you knew why the order is important. Now is that time we spent a long time trying to find the frequency that led to wonder and curiosity in our childhood. It was always easy to see its way back. There is something built to reverse the exact pattern we call the decline effect. It does this by using sound, and all you have to do is lie back and let it work. It's known as the Genius Song. A 7-minute sound file made to train your brain. The kind of technology that slowly moves your brain waves back to that state where they are fast, curious, and wide open. You don't need to know how the engineer did it. Just press play and let it do its thing. You already know how this works because you found out about it on your own tonight for free. Instead of leaving it up to chance, this sound gives your brain a way to consistently return to that same frequency night after night. Over the course of 34 years, the same researcher whose work we briefly touched on earlier studied this frequency as part of research at MIT, Princeton, Harvard, and other top research universities. What this actually does to restore things is easy to explain and amazing to feel. Curiosity comes back. Wonder comes back. The child's mind slowly wakes up. The way a room gets brighter when the dimmer switch is slowly turned back up instead of all the way off. In the past, someone said that the kingdom belongs to those who can become children. Again, not many people knew that was talking about a frequency as well as a feeling. A woman wrote to say that she felt something she hadn't felt in years. After only a couple of weeks, the real desire to learn something new just for the fun of it came back. This was something she had already told her family about before she even thought to tell me. She later said that the name she gave it was just the 7th-minute track. That was enough. Write down now if any of what I just said feels. It's already talking to you. Let's talk more after this. Leave a comment that is locked below this message right here, because what I'm about to say changes everything about why one wasn't enough. And when the first frequency does exactly what it was made to do, almost no one tells you this. The kid wakes up. That much is true, and it should be taken seriously without any qualifiers. Getting awake is not the same as receiving. Though there is also a second door that has been there for years and won't open just because the child on the other side of it is finally awake. Think of it as a courtyard with a drawbridge raised. The child was standing there, alert and interested in calling out. The bridge was still up, not because it was mean, but because nothing had told it to go down. Yet so many honest, good people get stuck in that space between being awake and being able to cross for years on end without ever figuring out why. In the beginning, we spent a lot of time on the second frequency. That one I named the stress signal. It's the same problem we just solved. It's the other half of the same thing. The mind of a child brings back wonder. Wonder will never be able to receive anything as long as the stress signal is not dealt with. In this order, the two waves work together. This is the only way that the first can restore and the second can receive. Act like a child again, and then you can receive what was already yours. That old teaching never talked about two different ideas. It was talking about a single sequence, and we just gave each half of it a name. That gap won't stay open forever, and it never was meant to. Language into the first frequency was found through the same research season that also found what closes the second frequency, and more importantly what opens it again. It's known as one to the wealth signal, 2 pieces of audio, a 5-minute calibrated track, and a 9-word spoken piece from a technique that is so old that it came before almost everything else we've talked about tonight. This is just an old, tried, and true method that isn't tied to any one tradition. You already understand what this is about because you got it for free before. This sound and the 9 words that go with it are meant to slow down that state of being constantly alert and let the slower, more open state take its place. The state in which what you are given can land instead of just bouncing off. This part of the picture was worked on for years by a different researcher. Someone who eventually went against the more common academic path in order to publish research that he thought should get more attention. Publishing work that has something to do with Stanford, Boston University, and other research universities. People don't expect this channel to feel the same when they open it after the child has already woken up. Not exciting, peaceful at 1 2 be quiet. When an opportunity comes up, there isn't the old reflex to push it away. Instead, there is a willingness to let it in. When a compliment lands, it stays there. It was said a long time ago that the people who behave like children would get what was promised to them. The first part of that lesson we had already learned together. That's it. The second half is finally done. Some of you may have this question in your head right now. And it's a good one. Why do you need 2 instead of 1? You already know the answer. Because tonight you learned it in your body, not from a chart or a slide. There was a certain order to when 2 frequencies stopped working years ago. Putting back only the second one is like reaching for something you can't quite reach yet. Only putting back the first one wakes the child up, but it's still stuck at a door that won't open. They would never be enough on their own. That was never a flaw in you. I also know that some of you are thinking to yourself whether it's even smart to start one more thing right now. That is an honest and fair question that should get an honest answer instead of being brushed off. Ellis, beginning a new project requires your full attention, no matter how small. I'd rather be honest about that than act like it's not true. Once the guesswork is out of the way, I can tell you how big the commitment really is. Every day for a few minutes. There's nothing to learn or plan around. And if it doesn't work out, there is a real answer to that risk right across the room. Now, here's where this really ends. And I don't want to dress it up. I just want to say it straight out. This is the full form of child mind reversal. Both waves at the same time. The whole path is for the child to wake up and then be given the chance to receive both frequencies again in the order they were always meant to move. An old teacher once said that you won't get to what was promised unless you behave like a child. Not many people ever noticed that he wasn't just talking about a feeling but also an order. Turn back into a child and then receive. That's the whole path, and it's what this whole message has been leading you to since the first line. You can also start with just the first frequency, getting the child mind back on its own. If that's the part that's calling to you the most tonight. In no way is that a worse option. It's just where some people start the same journey. The first step on the same path, not a smaller copy of it. And for the very few of you who never really went to sleep as a child and whose curiosity stayed mostly awake through life's ups and downs, the second frequency may be just what you're missing. You'll know if that sounds like you. That path is also waiting down below. Along with the restoration audio, there is a bonus called Genius Child. It was made for people who are thinking about the next generation and wants to keep a child they love from ever experiencing the decline effect. There is also a bonus called 20 Wealth Signal Success Stories that comes with the receiving audio. True stories from people who have been through the same thing before you, put together to show that the pattern is true. Everything about this comes with 90 days to try it out for yourself. There are no conditions. We'll give you your money back in full if it doesn't work the way we say it does. This you don't have to give a reason or send anything back because it's all digital. And you keep all the bonuses anyway. The publisher of the first restoration audio says that less than 5 out of every 100 people have ever asked for a refund. That's a pretty big number. So, think about it for a moment. There's nothing hard in store for you here. Not anything to learn. There is no need to start a whole new field of study. You only need to listen for a few minutes a day, and the frequency will do the work that you were never meant to do by willpower. The delivery happens right away to your email. Nothing was sent. There was nothing physical to wait for, and there was no ongoing subscription to any of it. What you need is below this message and in the comment that has been pinned. It will be there when you are ready. A few focused minutes a day. Here can give you a lot more than people spend whole weekends at spiritual retreats trying to get. Others go through weeks of courses on the prosperity mindset, a long line of coaching and BOF feedback sessions, or pay a monthly fee for a meditation app that never really gets to the heart of the matter. When you add the two frequencies together, 12 minutes a day goes farther than most of that ever does. Remember that morning we talked about before? The one where something good came your way and you didn't do anything to turn it down. That morning is not set in stone on a calendar. It gets farther away because no one has claimed them yet. These two frequencies stay where they are every day. There is no timer here. I'm also not going to act like time is running out on you. It's true that waiting doesn't make that morning come faster. That can only be done by changing the frequency. Somewhere inside you, the version of yourself that lived that morning is looking back at this very moment as the key moment when everything changed. Not next month. Not until things calm down. Now, tonight, this choice, no matter how small it seems from where you're sitting, is where everything we talked about tonight lives. There are 2 original audios made with real technology by real researchers, as well as all of the bonuses that were mentioned, and a guarantee that takes away all of your risk. It's all in the description and the comment that's been pinned below this message. That's the only place that has it all at once, and it's ready for you. First, let's go very slowly. The next part is important and shouldn't be rushed through. Take a slow breath in. If it feels good, put one hand on your chest. You could also close your eyes and take a deep breath if you can. You are the only one who really knows the answer to this question. Which is more true for you tonight? That the kid inside you has been asleep for a long time, or that the kid is awake but hasn't been able to get to what's rightfully its? Take a moment to think about that. Do not answer right away. Do not doubt what you felt right now. Which one is true? Your spirit already knows, even if your mind hasn't said it yet. They are both ready to go in the same spot below this message. The one that's yours tonight. The paths are written below this message. They were both waiting together. Right? They were the whole time you were listening. You already have a sense of which door is calling you more tonight. Nobody has to tell you it's okay to walk toward it. Also, you don't have to wait for every question to be answered. Go through the one that is pulling at you already. One more thing for those of you who feel called to go further after coming in. There are 2 more pieces that some people choose. After that, a stronger version of the healing wave known as the young brain, and a faster version of the receiving channel radar as the 1 signal accelerator. You won't see these until you already gone through them, because the first path is already complete just the way it is. These are only there for the very few whose journey calls them to go deeper. If your spirit says that is you, take a moment to think about what we just went over. You don't need to go anywhere else right now. And you don't have anything to prove in this next quiet stretch. You never really lost the child inside you. There was no time for wonder during the busiest times or when life felt strange, even at night. Worry didn't keep you up later than you should have. It was just waiting calmly, like a valuable thing does when it knows exactly who it belongs to. Think about the weight you brought with you tonight. No matter what kind of worry led you to this message, kindly hold it once, like you would hold something you are about to put down. It will fall on its own, not because you made it, but because you can't carry it with both hands anymore. This is what is true, said again. And for good measure. You are a child of light, not because of what you made, but because of what was put inside you before you knew how to say it. You were picked out, not more than anyone else, but in the same way that every parent picks out their child. You are someone whose 2 frequencies are being brought back in the right order right now, not tomorrow or once. Everything is perfect. You're already in the chapter that you were told you had already won. If a name came to mind while I was talking, send this message to that person. Before you go anywhere else, it's clear that they deserve it just as much as you do. Say something like, I am the chosen one, sealed and sent, so that this moment doesn't just go by without being noticed. That's how it is. I want to bring you back to something for a moment before you leave. As we thought about that morning, one in which something good was offered, and you had no reason to say no. For some of you, it was like seeing a picture. Some of you felt something closer to recognizing it. It was quieter, but it was clear. You already know which one it was. What you need is below this message and in the pinned comment, ready for the right person to find it. You don't have to hurry to walk toward it or stay here for a little while longer. Because of this, you got this message tonight instead of last year or next year. The same reason, your best chapter, couldn't have begun any earlier than today. You, the person reading this, and the person who already won were never going to meet until your frequencies were finally set back up in the right order and chosen one. That order just started. Some of you will feel this slowly sink in over the next few days in small quiet ways. It's a compliment that you accept without denying it. A morning that is 1 degree warmer than the night before. That's not a little thing in real life. That's how the chapter ends. Before we get to the end of this powerful story, let's reflect on this deep truth. You did not find this message by accident. This is a divine appointment meant specifically for you. You are being invited into a protected faith-filled community at the link in the description and pinned comment. A place where divine abundance is not just a hope but a promise built on the Word. By heading to the site right now, you are unlocking access to a sacred community of like-minded believers. When you join our membership tiers, you gain immediate entry to powerful content, daily devotions, and divine insights that are hidden from the world. This is your chance to enter a sanctuary where you will receive spiritual guidance, unwavering support on our prayer wall, and speedy progress toward your destiny. Do not let this moment of destiny pass you by. Your breakthrough is waiting. Join our inner circle through the exclusive link in the description. This is how you guarantee you never miss the personalized messages and spiritual warfare tools meant to elevate your life. If you feel called to deepen your connection, the link is waiting for you in both the pinned comment and the description. For those who want to amplify this work and carry the light home, you can find our guided ebooks and Bibles in the pinned comment. Whether you join as a member or sow a seed through our resources, your presence and energy change the world. Take the step. Your abundance awaits.